Rule number 2, if you think you found a lower price somewhere else, see rule number 1. It pays to know the rules.
No matter what you see or what you hear, you always pay less at Flex.
This is TV8, KCCI-TV, Des Moines.
Here are some of the stories you'll be seeing on TV8 News Live at 6. Thomas Sutherland, reunited with his family. Kevin Cooney will have a live satellite report from Wiesbaden, Germany. A West Des Moines man arrested and charged with 7 armed robberies. The Maran County attorney charged following a bizarre incident in Des Moines. Moulton School teachers, parents, and students meet with police on school safety. Now this.
Bill O'Reilly, anchor, Inside Edition. We want to put you in the eye of the storm, inside the story, Inside Edition.
Late night at 12:05 here on TV8.
Weather forecast mostly sunny and mild tomorrow and Thursday. Highs both days in the mid-50s. We'll be back at 6 o'clock. Now to CBS.
The challenging time for all of you.
No new economic initiatives, says President Bush, after another shaky day on Wall Street. Empty classrooms as the flu flies through one city, possibly heading your way. And the money crunch. Tonight, tips on fighting the high cost of higher education. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, Dan Rather reporting. President Bush tried again today to tame Wall Street's bears. He gave another upbeat assessment of the U.S. economy. Again, investors weren't buying. Stocks took another tumble. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was down as much as 78 points before finally closing with a loss of 41 points. President Bush said again today he plans no new initiatives to help the economy right now. Susan Spencer has more on that, live from the White House. Susan, good evening.
Indeed, Dan, the White House is adamantly sticking to its view that when it comes to the economy, no new plan is needed right now. Mr. Bush declaring, in fact, again today that technically the country has pulled out of the recession. Aware that such comments have led to charges that he just doesn't get it, Mr. Bush, in a satellite speech to newspaper publishers, made clear he understands all is not well.
I'm concerned about the people that are hurting. No honest observer can tell you that things are great. They're not.
But the president went on to accentuate the positive. Low inflation, low interest rates, strong basic economy. And he added that since Congress hasn't acted on measures he says would speed recovery, he'll go over Congress's head.
When Congress adjourns, I want to take my case for the growth initiatives that I mentioned to you to the American people.
What communication technique Mr. Bush has in mind to impress the American people isn't clear. But many in his own party think that what people want is a new plan, not a new PR effort.
They're devastated, they're frightened, they're terrified, and they want us to take some action. They want to see some bold leadership.
Housing Secretary Kemp, whose public disagreement over economic policy reportedly has caused White House reprimands, echoed all sides' frustration today.
We're on automatic pilot, and we can't do anything because we are, I don't know, locked in this political charade.
Mr. Bush criticized those who would make politics out of this debate. At the same time, he announced his own plans to take his message directly to the American people. He will have a difficult task, Dan, because he has to make that message, no new economic policy, and blaming Congress, sound compelling. Dan?
Thanks, Susan. President Bush has rolled through Congress again, winning another showdown. The president today vetoed a measure that would have lifted his ban on abortion counseling at clinics that get federal money. The House then tried but failed to override that veto, and that leaves President Bush with a perfect record for making his vetoes stick. A U.S. Coast Guard cutter took 300 Haitians back to their homeland today against their will. Hours later, a federal judge in Miami ordered a temporary halt to the forced return of Haitian refugees. Juan Vasquez has more on the story.
For more than 1,000 Haitian boat people aboard Coast Guard cutters in the Caribbean, today's court decision is a potential lifesaver. They feared return to a country run by a military government that Washington itself has criticized for terrorizing its own people.
I don't know what our policymakers are thinking. I don't know why they would even consider sending people back to conditions that our own government recognizes are horrible.
Even as today's decision was being handed down, the Voice of America was broadcasting appeals for Haitians to stay home.
There are people throughout the world that would like to do this, that make attempts to get to the United States. We're not going to be able to take all of them.
The government says it fears that too many people will die on the perilous 600-mile voyage across the Caribbean to Florida. But in Miami, the scene of several protests against forced repatriation, Haitian activists say the policy is racist because tens of thousands of refugees from Cuba, Nicaragua, and elsewhere have been allowed to remain.
We want Mr. Bush to understand, those of us with black skin are not choosing to be black. God make us black, and I think it's about time we get the same treatment.
In Haiti, the U.S. trade embargo against the military government has made conditions for poor people even more desperate. But the military government's disdain for the people was evident on the day it inaugurated a figurehead civilian president last month. At the National Palace, they broke open cases of French champagne, each bottle worth the equivalent of a Haitian worker's monthly salary. Haitian activists claim their own government doesn't want them, and the United States doesn't care about them because they come from a country of no strategic importance and with no natural resources that America wants. Juan Vasquez, CBS News, Miami.
The flu outbreak we warned you about on this broadcast last month is hitting sooner and harder than health officials had expected. Today, one big school system decided to fight the bug by closing its doors. Our health correspondent Edie Magnus has more about the flu and what you can do.
In Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, classrooms today are filled with the sounds of silence. A nasty outbreak of the flu forced the entire public school system to shut down for the rest of the week after around a quarter of the students missed classes Monday, suffering from fevers, vomiting, and general aches and pains.
At least the 6 days that we're closing the school sort of gives you a chance that you're not transmitting it and lets it cool off a little bit when they're at home.
Cases of influenza type A, or Beijing flu, have already been identified in 20 states. It's feared this virulent strain could claim as many as 50,000 lives this winter.
It's earlier than we usually have outbreaks of this extent, we don't know whether it will continue on, for a full season or whether we'll have an early peak or exactly what will happen.
Also hard hit so far, Houston, Texas, where the germ has community health clinics filled to capacity. And flu outbreaks have forced similar school shutdowns in suburban Kansas City.
You can't concentrate in class. It's not even worth being here because everyone, either you can't even hear the teacher because everyone coughing or hacking or someone getting up to leave the room.
Public health officials annually preach the benefits of getting flu shots early in the fall, which are said to be more than 90% effective in preventing an attack of influenza.
It's not too late to be immunized, even if there's an outbreak going on in the area. It takes typically 2 to 3 weeks to build up full immunity, but even if you get the flu in the meantime, it should reduce your symptoms.
And health officials have this warning for parents. Do not give aspirin or any product containing aspirin to any child under the age of 18 who has the symptoms of the flu. That can cause Rye syndrome, which can be fatal. Dan?
Edie Dunscore, is it too late to get the flu shot now?
It is not too late, and health officials are urging anyone who has not gotten a flu shot to do so, especially those who are at high risk, and that means those people with underlying heart, lung, or kidney conditions. It is not too late to get a shot.
I got mine this morning, so I'm glad to hear it. Thanks, Edie. Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a reunion to warm the heart with hope of more to come. And America's white-collar workers singing the blues.
Searching for the perfect shave? Let Norelco show you what it's like from the inside. Here, there's a system for a close, comfortable shave that exists in no other razor. Our patented lift and cut system lifts the hair so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. So to look better on the surface, remember, Norelco shaves below the surface. Norelco, we make close, comfortable.
Our competition uses a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art highly precise device to measure their cars. Our car, the Accord from Honda.
The United States and its economic allies are now offering the Soviet Union a short one-year moratorium on repaying its foreign debt. The G7 nations made the offer after 8 of the 12 overall Soviet republics promised today to share responsibility for the $80 billion debt. In an effort to restore some of the Kremlin's power and prestige, President Gorbachev appointed Edward Shevardnadze today to his old post, foreign minister. Shevardnadze had resigned last year with what proved to be a prophetic warning of a hardline coup coming. In England, hundreds turned out in the rain to welcome home Terry Waite. The Anglican church envoy said he had spent most of his 5 years in Lebanon chained to a wall. Meanwhile, a former U.S. diplomat today confirmed last night's CBS News report that Oliver North had given Waite a transmitting device before his final venture into Lebanon's underground. The American hostage released with Terry Waite got an ecstatic welcome home today at the U.S. military base in Wiesbaden, Germany. CBS News correspondent Peter Van Sant was there.
Great! Wonderful!
More than 6 years of isolation and loneliness ended for Thomas Sutherland this afternoon when he was reunited with his family, including his wife, Jean.
Jean, can you tell us what it's like to see and touch your husband again?
No words. Body language.
He's come back. Exactly. It's like we just like yesterday.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No, oh yeah, the years just like went like this. It's great.
Sutherland returned to the Western world in remarkably high spirits. Doctors say after a preliminary examination, he appears to be in good condition.
Oh, I've never felt so wonderful in all my life as I do now. They treated me in the U.S. Air Force as though I were a king. And here I am, only just a lowly hostage.
Sutherland says he couldn't have made it through his years as a hostage without the support and friendship of Terry Anderson, the American who has been held the longest in captivity. Sutherland says his captors told him Anderson will be released before the end of the month. He also claims the other 2 American hostages, Alan Steen and Joseph Sicipio, may be released within days.
They do intend to set everybody free very shortly. It's become an embarrassment to them to keep on holding hostages.
Sutherland is back in the arms of his loved ones. We've got the rest of our lives to live, he said, and it's going to be a lot of fun now that we're free. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Wiesbaden, Germany.
Sinus pain?
Oh, it hurts really bad.
Look, all these sinus pain formulas have the same medicine.
Is that right?
But Dristan Sinus contains ibuprofen.
Great. Oh, I feel so much better. Dristan Sinus.
Dristan, the face of relief today.
Shoot some slices, shoot some shreds, shoot some salad, salad shooter.
Presto Salad Shooter Slicer Shredder. Point and shoot right where you want. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, store anywhere. Original, cordless, and professional salad shooter.
Let's throw a party with your birthday money. I'm putting it into a Metlife State Street Mutual Fund. Balloons, a few friends, your big sister. Maybe a stock or bond fund, a money market or tax-exempt fund. In time, I could have thousands of dollars in my MetLife Mutual Fund. Thousands? What a party that could be. Get Met, it pays.
Reebok introduces a shoe with a technology specifically designed for fitness walkers. The pump accelerator with the dynamic cushioning system. With each step, compression of the heel chamber forces air through a transmission channel into the forefoot chamber, creating a cushioning sensation that can help any athlete maintain an optimum level of cardiovascular endurance.
I'll make this real simple. These cushions can help you get rid of these cushions.
I was getting to that.
What would you do if a convicted sex offender was moving next door?
I'm going to be back out there on that street.
Before you answer, watch 48 Hours Wednesday.
In the best of times, sending your children to college is an expensive proposition. Now, money is especially tight for many parents. So tonight, money correspondent Ray Breggy has some tips on paying for an education in our special series on the economy, The Money Crunch, Making It in America.
It really is a beautiful school.
She's interested in being an accounting major.
Biology, chemistry.
College night at New Jersey's Westfield High, but it could be anywhere USA. Here's what concerns the students.
Do you know if you can combine it with like a philosophy major? Or... You can do anything you want to do.
The buses are free. They run continually, even on weekends and nights, so there's social opportunities. There's a mall along the way.
But here's what concerns parents.
I've gone back to work so that I could be prepared to put my daughter through college.
$22,000, that's after-tax dollars. It's just amazing. I mean, when you start to calculate it.
Oh, it is incredible.
I mean, what you have to earn to pay $22,000.
Students and parents are trying to pass the toughest math test of all, paying for college. This school year, the average four-year private college will cost you more than $16,000. A four-year public college will cost more than $7,000 for in-state students. For out-of-state students, more than $10,000.
It's going to put us in debt for a long time.
One way to get a passing grade on all this, there's nearly $28 billion in public and private financial aid available for those in need. And don't let that term need throw you. It's the difference between the cost of college and what you can afford to pay.
There are even highly regarded, absolutely free colleges. Cooper Union in New York is one of them. And if you've got a major financial problem, you can always tell it to the Marines.
We have different ways, different programs, tuition assistance programs that will pay you to help you through college.
Here's what you can do. Start saving early, and when your child is young, invest for growth, maybe stock mutual funds. As college comes closer, go for safety, government bonds, and avoid those get-rich-quick college tuition schemes. They'll put the salesperson's child through college a lot faster than yours.
Also, schools like students who earn some of their own tuition. Like the Byrne twins, working at the high school football game. Listen to their mother. She and her husband are putting 7 children through college.
The children have earned some of their own money, and we borrowed money. The children tried to get scholarship money that they didn't have to pay back.
So talk to the college of your choice, do your homework, and remember, enrollment is down at many colleges. They'll be as happy as you to find the aid that will save you money and bring them in tuition fees. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Stay with us now for more CBS News, including one city's tough climb up from the ashes.
We were all tied up on the Delacorte case, unable to identify the mystery blonde. Luckily, Louis was back, a Freedom Zoom kit.
With Minolta's unique eye start, Freedom starts zooming before it even meets your eye. So, when you can't get to the picture, Freedom zooms the picture to you. And fast. Shoot!
Look at this. It's our secretary. Looks like she takes more than dictation.
Americans choose the freedom to zoom.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Panasonic presents a new breed of smooth operator. The new Smooth Operator rechargeable razor unites the old-fashioned closeness of a warm, wet shave with the convenience and no-nick comfort of an electric. Don't try this with any plugged-in razor. Smooth Operator wet-dry razors from Panasonic. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be.
Me and my pal Jim here plan to lay in a load of firewood before lunch. So we make no mistake about breakfast. Hot Quaker oats, pure nutrition. You know you're doing the right thing when you eat it. You can feel it helping you get all fired up. Then when you're not feeling all hungry at 10 o'clock and you're still going strong at 11, you'll keep realizing all morning, Quaker oats is the right thing to do.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Paula Zahn. Strategies for success in the stock market.
And tire buying tips tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
It's breakfast for your head.
Democratic presidential candidate Senator Bob Kerrey of Nebraska apologized today for telling an off-color joke about lesbians. The senator told the joke in a private conversation at a weekend fundraising dinner, but Kerry's comments were picked up by a C-SPAN microphone and reported this week by the San Francisco Examiner newspaper. A fiery train wreck near Shepherdsville, Kentucky today. 15 cars of a freight train broke through a bridge and plunged into a river. No injuries reported. Back on the tracks, crews worked to keep the fire away from 3 cars loaded with chemicals and explosives. The potential danger in Kentucky forced thousands of residents of the town near Louisville to evacuate their homes. 1 month has passed since a wildfire wiped out 2,000 homes in California's Oakland hills. So far, time has done little to ease the tragedy. And as John Blackstone reports, it's done nothing to clear up the mystery of how that fire started.
A month after the fire, hard questions keep emerging from the ashes. Some about the future, some about the past. Residents have been reliving the horror as 911 dispatch tapes are released, showing an emergency quickly getting out of control.
I have 1,100 people's lives in my hands here at Park.
Evacuate the apartment.
Okay,
Evacuate now. Evacuate now.
I can't call it.
Getting out of here was really hard because there's a lot of cars that hit the poles or people were running down the hill to try to get out of here. They found bodies everywhere, and there's just really a bottleneck here.
No one knows how many of the 26 people who died in the fire might have been saved had the roads been wider. Almost half those killed died on this street, Charing Cross Road. It's barely 13 feet wide, not wide enough for 2 cars to pass, no room to turn around. In the flames, it became a death trap. As the cleanup moves ahead, there is uncertainty about the future. This morning, Stephanie and Robert Herstein talked with a contractor in front of the ruins of their home. But they are still not sure they want to rebuild.
Sad? No, it's just the neighborhood has changed. It's not the same place we used to live.
Right after the fire, city officials promised to cut red tape to speed recovery. But the city ruled yesterday that residents need permits even to clean up their property.
As we looked at the issue of adjacent property owners and soil erosion and liability and hazards, it was clearly determined that public safety really will require some review.
Despite the obstacles, Thaddeus and Carol Kazmersky are determined to rebuild their historic house, designed by architect Bernard Maybeck in 1928.
I found drawings at the university library, in fact, the original drawings in Maybeck's hand, now we're faced with the problem of whether we can afford to do it.
Everything is sad for me. I have no other word to describe it.
In the Oakland hills, a month after the fire, many are still fighting back the tears. John Blackstone, CBS News, Oakland.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
I live in the country, where everything tastes a little sweeter and a little fresher. Maybe that's what I like best about these Sunsweet pitted prunes. I can taste all that goodness in Sunsweet.
Look what's popping up, fat-free. Special K waffles from Eggo. Once you see how good fat-free can be, whoa, no, you never let go.
No way. It's all mine.
Special K waffles from Eggo.
Eggo Special K waffles. Crisp, delicious, yet every bite fat-free, cholesterol-free, and just 80 calories per waffle. See how good fat-free can be.
Oh, no, you never let go. Nah. Special K waffles from Eggo.
This is regular. This is better. This Bayer is regular, but for headaches, Anacin is better. This is regular. This is better. This Bufferin is regular, but for headaches, Anacin is better. What makes Anacin better? It's simple. Regular Bayer and Bufferin have one ingredient for pain, but Anacin has 2 ingredients, an effective pain medicine plus a second ingredient that makes Anacin work better. For headache relief, get Anacin. Get better.
Dina DeLuca, are you waiting longer for overseas calls to connect? Latino Chicago Theater Company, are you saving less than you'd hoped on international calls since you left AT&T? We want you back. AT&T Pro Watts, competitive prices on international calls. plus our new favorite nation 10% discount. Switch now and get 1 month of long distance free. We want you back. Call 1-800-222-0900.
There is danger lurking in the workplace. It can hit when you least expect it, and it is changing life at work for millions of Americans. Bob McNamara reports tonight's Eye on America. Pink slips amid white collars.
The white-collar blues.
There is no such thing as job security.
If the corporation is not making money, then people have to be cut.
It's happening to everyone. It's hitting everyone.
People are frustrated.
They're timid. They're sweating bullets. They're listening for the other shoe to drop. They're constantly looking over their shoulder, wondering when it will happen to them. They're zombies at work. They're physically there with their bodies, but their souls or their spirit has been dashed. It is a hangover from the 1980s.
The 80s. From the bull market to the bailout. Excess evaporated overnight. Faces of fortune became symbols of failure. And American business began cannibalizing itself to survive. The rules had changed.
The quickest way to make a fast buck in business today is to cut costs. And the biggest target for cost cutting are white-collar workers.
Bob Gilbreth has built a career tracking the morale crisis in American business and what it has cost.
What we're losing is the spirit and the imagination and the willingness to do what can never be written into a job description. Dedicated, involved, passionate people at work are going to be lost.
Organizations are losing much of the creativity of people.
Psychologist Tom McGaffey counsels corporations in turmoil, where workers often don't trust the boss or each other.
One of the things we start to see was distrust. Is a loss of the coordination of effort among people. You know, I'm not going to share with you something if it might make you the guy who makes it through the downsizing and not me.
I lost my job. Yeah. I was 55 at the time. And of course that had a lot to do with the difficulty of finding the job.
Bob Comer was a likely target for layoff, his age and his income against him.
I'd say everyone is very cynical and skeptical when you start talking about companies being loyal to their employees. I try to be philosophical about it, and I recognize it as the new reality.
The new reality is that white-collar workers have the riskiest jobs in America. And in a decade of downsizing and corporate cutbacks, saving yourself means managing your own career and not counting on the company to do it.
Don't do anything that doesn't lead to your self-improvement or self-protection. I mean, we're really getting down to the basics here, which is survival, and corporations are in it for their own survival, so should the individuals that comprise them.
We see the devastation among middle-aged managers because they did put their soul into their job. And someone said, thank you very much, we don't need your soul any longer.
Business professor Michael McGill teaches would-be executives the new facts of corporate life.
The corporation as protector, provider is gone. Maybe that's positive. Maybe we shouldn't have thought that all along.
Nobody loves me, and nobody seems to care.
The white-collar blues, probably playing in an office near you.
You're gonna get laid off.
You're always running scared.
It's a jungle out there. It's pretty rough.
Bob McNamara, CBS News, Denver.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Are you having trouble paying your bills? Have you lost your job? How to make the best of these tough times. A month-long series, The Money Crunch, continues tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
The people of CBS News. Dan Rather.
Connie Chung.
Mike Wallace.
Paul Azan.
Ed Bradley.
Leslie Stahl.
Harry Smith.
Morley Safer.
And Charles Carroll.
Experience.
CBS News.
This is CBS.
Next on the TV8 News, live at 6, the Sutherland family, together again in Germany.
A day to celebrate, a day to get reacquainted. I'm Kevin Cooney, live in Wiesbaden. We'll have the latest.
And for the second time in a row and the second time this year, a Maran County attorney is in trouble with the law. I'm Jeff Greenwell. I'll have the story live in an update.
Connie's sunny forecast. Heidi live with the sports. TV8 News is next.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now you can get a 92 Chevy Cavalier for as low as $81.99. You'll be getting America's lowest price car with anti-lock brakes standard. And when the weather's lousy at rush hour, anti-lock brakes mean peace of mind. Plus, Cavalier's impressive list of standard features will surprise you at this low price. Chevy knows the real value of safety, and you'll appreciate the real value of Chevy. Get it all in a new Cavalier at your Central Iowa Chevy dealer. Oh, yeah.
It's new, exciting, a grand shopping tradition. Our grand reopening. You'll love North Grand and Ames for the new touches, but we've kept the old-fashioned ones for tradition's sake. A warm welcome, extra shopping conveniences, and many special events. At North Grand, we give you that personal touch until it's just right. Celebrating 20 years of great old traditions in a grand new way. Save 20% this weekend at participating merchants during North Grand's grand reopening. Santa arrives Saturday.
You're about to see a big innovation in corn hybrids. Performance pack from Ciba-Geigy Seed Division. Breaking new ground.
It's 6 o'clock. And now from TV8, Iowa's news leader, Paul Rhodes, Kevin Cooney, Connie McBurney with weather, and Heidi Soliday Sports. This is TV8 News, live at 6.
A family reunion for the Sutherlands in Germany is just the beginning of the journey back home for the former Iowan. Good evening, thanks for being with us. Kevin is on assignment in Germany. Thomas Sutherland is doing something he hasn't done in 6 years, spending the night with his family.
If Sutherland's health checks out, he could be back in Iowa within 48 hours. It's believed that Sutherland will arrive at the Des Moines International Airport late Thursday, and then will be honored when he arrives in Ames. On Friday, Sutherland will attend funeral services for his father-in-law, William Murray. It's now early Wednesday morning in Germany. TV8's Kevin Cooney has been there throughout the day following the developments. Kevin joins us live via satellite from the military hospital at Wiesbaden. Kevin?
Paul, indeed it is Wednesday, and with the coming of the new day, hopefully will come some answers to some questions. The Sutherlands, both Tom and Jean and their family, will be appearing at a news conference later in the day today, and hopefully we'll be able to get some insight into just what it was that happened during those 6.5 years that Thomas Sutherland spent in captivity. That is the day to come, however. As for the day just ended, it was a day of celebration, a day of reunion. It was a day that the Sutherlands have waited for a long, long time.
The day started early for Sutherland. He was the first of the family to arrive in Germany in the early morning rain at Rhein-Main Air Base in Frankfurt. He brought good news with him, too. Good news for the families of fellow hostages Joseph Sicipio, Alan Steen, and Terry Anderson.
In about a couple of weeks, all of the Americans will be free, hopefully. And
a short time later, another early morning welcome at the hospital at Wiesbaden. Here again, it was a grateful Sutherland who spoke to the press and the hospital staff that greeted him. He spoke of perhaps pleasures much simpler than his newfound freedom. He realized, for example, it was the first time he had held flowers in 6.5 years. And he spoke of seeing his wife, Jean.
well, after I give her a tremendously big kiss, I'll tell her thank you for being so faithful and staying in Beirut for all that time.
Daughter Kit was the first to arrive in Germany. A short time later, wife Jean. Early this morning, when he first arrived at Frankfurt and later here at the U.S. Air Force Hospital in Wiesbaden, Sutherland was a very talkative man. By the time this afternoon rolled around and he first emerged on that balcony we've all become familiar with, he was a bit quieter. His wife, Jean, from Ames, preferred to let the pictures tell the story.
No words.
They said little else this afternoon on the balcony, and leaving until Wednesday's news conference the story of the past 6.5 years.
As we mentioned, Thomas Sutherland is a very, very talkative man, perhaps the most talkative of all the hostages. And for that very reason, Paul, we hope to learn a lot tomorrow at that news conference. As for that scene atop the balcony, more than one person here has made the mention that it looked like perhaps a scene from Romeo and Juliet.
Kevin, Sutherland has been apparently locked in a room for more than 6 years. What about his health?
His health so far appears to be very good. There has been no official word, of course, from the folks here behind us at the hospital in Wiesbaden. However, from all outward appearances, here is a man that, as you say, has spent 6.5 years in captivity and looks remarkably well, sounds remarkably well, and obviously feels remarkably well.
Thank you, Kevin, live from Wiesbaden, Germany.
When Sutherland comes home, it's believed he'll head for central Iowa to attend funeral services for his father-in-law, William Murray. But Ames and Iowa State University also plan a big welcome back. TV8's Sarah Jarvis with that story.
So to Iowa State, I would say, keep the bells ringing, friends back there, and we're very happy.
Thomas Sutherland's thanks to the Iowa State community after his release is exciting the Ames community.
Well, I think it puts us on the map from the standpoint of national, international attention.
Yeah, it is kind of neat, and I'm glad we're thinking of them.
The Ames and Iowa State community have been longtime supporters of ISU grads Terry Anderson and Thomas Sutherland. And Sutherland's family members in Ames, the Murrays, say the community support is important to them.
Well, we're very grateful to them because it would been lonely if they hadn't, and they constantly show their concerns.
Plans are that Sutherland will make it back to Ames for the Friday funeral of his father-in-law, William Murray. The service will be held at the Collegiate Presbyterian Church. Pastor Arthur Sandstrom says Sutherland's return to Ames is a homecoming of sorts. Tom and his wife Jean were married here. He also sang in the choir.
It isn't just something of a passing event in their long history. It's still a continuing influence in their lives.
Definite plans aren't set yet, but a homecoming celebration is in the works Thursday afternoon or Friday evening at the Ames Airport. But ISU's job isn't done yet. A bulletin board in the journalism building reminds students and staff of another ISU graduate hostage. Sutherland's release may help.
What a neat guy he was, and to come out with that kind of good spirit. The first thing he did when he got out is he talked about Terry Anderson. I thought that was fantastic.
In Ames, Sarah Jarvis, TV8 News.
When Sutherland arrives in central Iowa, watch for live coverage on TV8.
In other news, Maran County has another problem with its county attorney. Earlier this year, the former county attorney quit after he was charged with second offense drunk driving. Now, the new county attorney, Douglas Marbury, faces charges filed early today by Des Moines police. That's in connection with a rather bizarre incident involving a police dog, 2 frightened women, and a six-pack. TV8's Jeff Greenwood joins us live from the Southside convenience store where this all happened. Jeff?
Well, Paul, Des Moines police early this morning arrested the county attorney, Douglas Marbury, on the 3 criminal charges stemming from an incident at this southeast side Des Moines convenience mart. Now, Marbury is charged with false imprisonment, impersonating a police officer, and criminal trespass. Police reports allege that Marbury walked into this convenience mart with a German Shepherd flashing a badge. He allegedly first said he was a cop, but then allegedly changed his story to an undercover federal narcotics officer on an official investigation with his drug dog. He was flashing his county attorney's badge. Now, a witness inside told police Marbury helped himself to beer here at the store and wouldn't let the cashier leave. He eventually did leave, and police later arrested him at his home. Now, in the report, police allege he was drunk. We contacted him here tonight just a few minutes ago, and he had no comment. This morning, he was at the Des Moines City Jail when he bonded out and was released. We talked to the Maran County Supervisor, Bob Pack. He says that the board will meet in Knoxville tomorrow to discuss the incident. They want to get his side of the story, but they also want to take a look at the investigative reports. So no action yet, but Paul, they do want to discuss this matter.
Thank you, Jeff. Reporting live.
An arrest tonight in connection with several robberies in West Des Moines. Police arrested Robert R. Wallace of 1157th in West Des Moines last night following an armed robbery at Yogurt Place on Grand Avenue. Wallace is charged with 7 counts of first-degree robbery in connection with numerous incidents in which the suspect wore a ski mask and was armed with a knife. No one was hurt in any of those robberies.
The Attorney General's office said today the fatal shot fired by an Ottumwa police officer last month was justified. Ottumwa motorcycle officer Greg Francisco shot 23-year-old John Hill after a chase and confrontation at the Hill family junkyard. Police say Hill pulled a gun on the officer. He was a passenger in a car driven by his brother Michael. The Attorney General's office ruled today the use of deadly force in this case was justified.
Parents at Moulton Elementary School spoke out about safety concerns at a late afternoon meeting with Des Moines police and school officials. Many parents have been worried since the death of Rosalind Barnes, a Moulton student. School officials outlined the kind of safety procedures currently in place. Parents also suggested ideas they'd like to see implemented. Those include more police patrols and the return of a four-way stop sign that's been removed from the area.
The minute we let our guards down, that's when we're going to have another tragedy. So we as the parents, we as the school, we as the community need to band together to make it safe, keep it safe.
We have a lot of interested community people here today. Now, that's the idea of a school. It's a neighborhood school. Let's all work together and try to prevent problems from happening.
The parents plan more meetings in the future.
And next on the TV8 News Live at 6, more cross burnings in Iowa. These were not in Dubuque. We'll have details.
And Steve Oswalt with reaction to his series, Never Ending Spending, when we come back.
Quality. You hear a lot about it, but what does it mean? For more than 60 years, quality at Anderson Erickson has meant one thing. If it's worth doing right. It shows in using only the finest, freshest ingredients, the highest standards of production, and painstaking testing. Old-fashioned values? You bet. Because the
Where? The Yellow Pages comes in handy, considering I need wallpaper. Ooh, scary. Window coverings of some kind. Where's my furniture? And let's not forget light bulbs. I've got US West voice messaging, so while I'm out, I can get my messages. And I love my portable cellular. Hey, they found my furniture!
Fertilizer, aisle 9.
These new time savers from US West are great. They're really helping me get this place together. Hello.
Miss Lombardi, your furniture will be there in 10 minutes.
Great! Except I'm not Miss Lombardi.
US West, making the most of your time.
Let there be light. Light 104 KEZT-FM. We're back with the best light contemporary music. Light 104.
It's 10 o'clock. And now from TV8, Iowa's news leader, Kevin Cooney, Sue Mason, Connie McBurney with weather, and Heidi Soliday sports. This is TV8 News, live at 10.
How are you feeling? Is your health good?
A big thumbs up from Thomas Sutherland telling reporters he's feeling fine. Good evening, thanks for being with us. Kevin is on assignment in Germany. Former hostage Thomas Sutherland is spending the night with his family.
It's their first night together since Sutherland was taken captive in the summer of 1985. TV8's Kevin Cooney is at the U.S. Military Hospital in Wiesbaden, Germany, and has this late report.
His first full day of freedom for Thomas Sutherland started early with a steak and potato meal on board a military transport from Damascus. The plane touched down at Frankfurt early this morning. Sutherland was an enthusiastic man, smiling and waving, showing few signs, really, that he had spent 6.5 years as a captive. And he told of promises, too. Promises from his captors to release fellow American hostages Joseph Scipio, Alan Steen, and within a couple of weeks, Terry Anderson.
I just keep my fingers crossed that nothing bad will happen between now and the time that the other three get out. But it certainly looks now, from where we were sitting there in the Bekaa, that they do intend to set everybody free very shortly. It's become an embarrassment to them to keep on holding hostages.
Next, a short 15-mile trip to the U.S. Military Hospital at Wiesbaden, and a few remarks about the simpler pleasures of life that, until now, he had not seen since June of 1985.
I've now got some marvelous flowers. Haven't seen flowers in 6.5 years, and now I've got 2 bunches.
And finally, late Tuesday afternoon, that familiar scene on the hospital balcony. Few words were spoken, but the message was clear.
Gene, can you tell us what it's like to see and touch your husband again?
No words. Body language.
After the appearance on this familiar balcony, Sutherland, his wife, 2 daughters, and 2 brothers presumably continued their reunion inside the hospital. Tomorrow, they'll go before the cameras one more time at a news conference to answer many of the questions about Tom's 6.5 years of captivity. Kevin Cooney, TV8 News, Wiesbaden.
Kevin will be at Sutherland's news conference tomorrow, and we'll have reports on the TV8 News during the day.
Thomas Sutherland may be headed to Ames Thursday. Sutherland and his wife Jean are working to get back to Iowa for the funeral of William Murray. After his release, Sutherland thanked Iowa State University for ringing the bells. His mentioning ISU is exciting the Ames and Iowa State University community.
We're just delighted that that was one of the things that he thought of in this very emotional and exciting time.
A celebration is tentatively set for Thursday at the Ames airport. The time will depend on when Sutherland arrives, if he's able to make it to Ames at all.
The second Maran County attorney in a row is in trouble with the law tonight. Douglas Marbury faces 3 criminal charges, including false imprisonment, impersonating a police officer, and criminal trespass. Witnesses told Des Moines police that Marbury entered the Southeast Des Moines Convenience Mart with a German Shepherd dog early this morning. The Maran County attorney then allegedly told store employees he was a federal drug agent and helped himself to a 6-pack of beer, reportedly flashing a county attorney's badge. The cashier said she was scared and Marbury wouldn't let her leave the store. A customer called police, but Marbury left before they arrived. Police later tracked him down at his home and arrested him on the 3 charges police say he was drunk. TV8 News contacted Marbury at his home tonight. He had no comment. Marion County Supervisor Bob Pack tells us the county board plans to discuss the matter tomorrow morning. Marbury just recently was named county attorney, replacing Henry Pfeifken, who was forced out of office due to a second offense drunk driving charge.
The latest cross burning in Iowa in Waterloo overnight. It happened at a golf course in Waterloo's Burns Park. Police last night discovered the cross, and underneath was the message, "Duke for President," apparently referring to David Duke. Police found no one near the cross and have made no arrests.
The Methodist Church of Iowa is beginning a new effort to curb what it calls the growing problem of gambling in the state. And tonight they started at Ground Zero, Prairie Meadows horse racing track. TV8's Todd Magel reports many of the Methodists set foot on the track for the first time tonight.
These are all your teller, Wendell?
You might call them the proverbial foxes in the hen house, these 24 Methodists touring Prairie Meadows racetrack. Since most of them think gambling is a sin,